to yet another Monday. Something about Mondays. It's good to have you with us this morning as we launch off into this 25th day of January for 2021. Hope it finds you well this morning. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you made the most of it, got out and enjoyed some of the things that were happening around your house. I know it's one of those things where you look forward to the weekend gets here and it's like, oh yeah, I forgot. We're not doing anything. We have, I'm going to be honest with you, around my house, we have minimized exposure, minimized activity out of our own doing. It's not like somebody said, oh, you have to, or they twisted arm, but we just felt like, hey, we might as well minimize the amount of exposure that we have for a variety of reasons. One of them being that, we have grandchildren, we have kids, so we've kind of tried to make it a small bubble so that we can all still see each other, but at the same time, not expose each other. Because I go to work every day. Yeah, and I trust the people I work with, but that's not really doesn't come into play in a pandemic as, oh yeah, I trust you. I think you haven't gone anywhere. That doesn't always work. So we're trying to keep it tight. So weekends are pretty much laid back, but there again, so are weekdays. We restrict the places we go, grocery stores, minimal amount of times possible. But again, it's okay. It's okay. It's better than the alternative. You may say, well, what's the alternative? Do a little history. Go look at the pandemic, 17, 18, flu pandemic, and that's the alternative, where they were stacking bodies in the street. Yes, we have lost a lot of Americans. There's no doubt about that. But it's still not nearly what it was then, and hopefully will not be by the time we get out of this. Again, good morning to you. I'm Dan Gresham. You're in my house. Hope everything is well in your house this morning. Don't forget, if you're watching and you would like to let us know that you are, you can do so. Let me get rid of my name so that I can put your name up. Joanne, good morning to you. Candy Love is up with us this morning, as is Jean. Good morning to you as well. Carol is here this morning. Who else is up? Tanya is up this morning. Sonia is here this morning. Mary Wofford is up with us this morning. Gail Moody is also up with us this morning. Tom, who watches from north, like as in way north. Anyway, this morning, he's saying, I wish it was warm there like it is here. And that's true, Tom, but the problem is not only is it warm here, it's humid here. So it's kind of that winter muggy. I don't know what else to call it, but it's just kind of yucky outside this morning. Also, Jackie Stewart's watching. She says she's in Moscow, Texas, but she was born in Beaumont, and that's where she was raised. Hi, Peggy. Good morning to you. Stella is up this morning as well. Carlene is up this morning with us. Lily is here this morning, and the list goes on. And again, all you have to do if you want to comment, if you want to be part of the show, tell us where you're watching from. You just want to say good morning. Obviously, just like any other Facebook post, you just go down to the bottom of the page, post up your information. I can see it. I can put it on the screen. We can read it together. I certainly read everybody's comment when we're not on the air. So nobody goes unnoticed, I promise. Also this morning, if you like our at-home updates, do me a favor, hit me with a like. That's a thumbs up. That would be appreciated. If you don't like, let me know too. Hit one of the other emojis. Angry, crying, whatever, and let me know that way. All right, so let's hit on some things that are going on this morning. We'll start things off, as always, by checking out what's happening at kfdm.com, your first stop on the internet. Interesting story this morning, and I thought it presented a side of the story that I'm not sure many people have seen, and that is Angel San Juan's report on gambling in the state of Texas. What pushes it forward? What holds it back? A very interesting look at the numbers when it comes to lobbying efforts from outside the state of Texas by other casino owners and or investors. Contributions to major politicians, to people who hold sway, as they say. So you might want to check that out. Again, I thought it was a very good job, but Angel always does a good job, but this is a really excellent story. Also, a story that is very disturbing today, and people that I know in Lake Charles are just beside themselves with this story. Deputies in Lake Charles arrest girls 12, 13, and 14 after a 15-year-old girl was stabbed to death. 7:30 p.m., officers dispatched to a grocery store in Lake Charles. It reveals that several young girls inside the store, at which time a 15-year-old was stabbed and later died. Now they've arrested, like I say, the 4 females, a 14-year-old, 2 13-year-olds, and a 12-year-old, all booked into juvenile detention. One's charged with second-degree murder. And my understanding is this is not the first story of this nature that's come out of Lake Charles in the last couple of weeks. I believe they have a curfew in effect, but if I remember seeing right, the folks over in Calcasieu Parish in the sheriff's office saying we're about to really start enforcing this curfew. I'm not sure though if it happened at 7:30 in the evening, if the curfew really would have had an effect. Most of them I think are a little bit later than that, but still, obviously a story that has that city very concerned about what's going on. And can't we all identify with that to some degree? Don't you ever ask yourself when you go places and you know all these young people are running around, you're like, wow, are they old enough to be out by themselves? And if not, then where are their parents? Why are they here, without any kind of oversight at all? But I do remember, being 14, 15, 16, that I didn't want any oversight either. We wanted to be, drop me off and I'll call you when I'm ready. Back then, that meant going to the phone booth. Now, of course, almost every kid has their own phone. Also this morning, we had an escape in Jefferson County from the jail, which the escapee is back behind bars this morning. If you want to read that story, you can certainly do that by going to KFDM.com. Interesting how he managed to escape. That may be worth your time just to look at that one. Also this morning, talking about some, that's the amazing thing is, in the middle of a pandemic, crime goes on. Some things just don't change. So you can go and read about that as well. We also have a story about the Port Arthur mayor reacting to President Biden's executive order concerning food benefits. I noticed Thurman Barty is wearing an oxygen tube. And I'm just wondering if he's still having fallout from his bout with COVID-19. I haven't had a chance to talk to the judge. I still think of him as a judge, but he is now the mayor there in Port Arthur. All right, let's also take a look at some other stories of interest this morning. Here's one. And you would have thought this was already in place. Why would we not buy American? If you're buying things, you're purchasing things for the United States government, wouldn't you think that would be like priority number one? That if we're shopping for things, this is from USA Today, that it would be an automatic that you would buy American products. Apparently that's not the case. President Joe Biden, it says, will take steps Monday to encourage the federal government to buy more American-made products, a move the new administration argues will protect U.S. jobs. He's pushing a $700 billion Buy American campaign. He did that as a presidential candidate, and now he's set to sign an executive order. But my point is not which party did it, which party pushed Buy American. My question is, why wouldn't it be Buy American? I mean, I understand that you have to do some business with other countries and you might have to buy some things that we don't make. But wouldn't that be like number one? I know price might be number one, or competitiveness, or who got the best bit, but you would think that would be very high on the priority list. Is if it's available, we make it as Americans, we would support ourselves and we would buy an American product. I can't believe that we have to have an executive order for that. The other thing I wanted to go back just real quickly to the KFDM page coming up today, and I'm not sure, it should be on here, at 11 o'clock. We're expecting that the Jefferson County Vaccine Committee, the Southeast Texas Vaccine Committee, will come out for its distribution plan. They've developed a plan, for those who are in phase A, 1A, and 1B, and they're hoping to implement that. But you know what? You can't implement anything if you don't have vaccine. And to this point, that's the problem. But there is a place that you can go if you haven't already. Here it is right here, vaccine.beaumonttexas, all one word, .gov. If you go there and you meet the criteria, you can register. It doesn't mean they're going to call you tomorrow, but it does mean that you will get on the list. And then when vaccines become available, they will begin scheduling people. And if you're saying to me, well, Dan, that's great, but I don't have a computer. I know people who don't have a computer. Well, there is a number that you can call. And again, this covers folks in Hardin, Jefferson, Jasper, Newton, Orange counties. You don't have to live only in Jefferson County or only in Beaumont. If you qualify,
go to
you can either go on to the website and register, or you can call and register. And if you missed the story, you can go to kfdm.com. It's right there. And I was talking with Kelsey Borza this morning on the television show, and I was saying, wouldn't it be helpful if we knew the numbers? I mean, how many people in Southeast Texas fit the criteria being over 65 or 16 and over and having underlying medical conditions? Just a ballpark figure. I mean, are we talking about, am I competing with 10,000 people? Am I competing with 100,000 people as I try to get these shots? Because it would just, in your mind, you'd kind of go, oh, okay. There's not just 50 of us trying to get this shot. There's 50,000 of us trying to get this shot. Now we know, and I can't say the exact numbers, but we know approximately you're talking about at least, because in the 3-county area, you're talking more than 400,000 people. And we know in a 9-county service area, that's the trauma service area, it's 1.3 million people. So what percentage of those are above 65 might help us at least get an idea and wrap our head around the idea, how long is it going to take if I get on this list before I can legitimately expect to get a phone call and be able to get vaccine number 1. We got 2,000 doses into Jefferson County Thursday last week, I think, and gone pretty quickly. So Chambers County also got designated as a vaccine hub. But again, based on the idea that you get the vaccine. We've been told that there are 300,000 plus vaccines going out across the state of Texas this week, which sounds like a lot until you start realizing how many counties there are in the state of Texas, how many cities there are, and how many much larger metropolitan areas they are, which are going to get the larger proportion, the larger number of doses, as opposed to the smaller rural areas. So it's proportional, obviously. What else did I have for you this morning? I know. Just wanted to update you kind of on some of the numbers. If you might be wondering, we're still talking about, yes, COVID-19. Somebody asked me yesterday, you think maybe by, say, like June, maybe May, will everybody who wants a vaccine will have a vaccine? I said, I would hesitate to guess, but I can't imagine that would be the case. It'd be great if it was. But I'm thinking later, the way things are going. Anyway, you see the headlines. This is Texas Tribune. As deaths due to coronavirus rise, Texas health officials issue a dire warning. They're talking about overwhelming the healthcare system. But hospitalizations are down by 829 patients week to week. Cases are down, but unfortunately, deaths are up by 17. And of course, we keep talking about adding in another factor too, which is what? Variants to the virus. We'll see how that plays out. Also, very interesting article in Texas Monthly by Dan Solomon, in which he talks about the numbers. And you and I have had this discussion since the beginning of the pandemic. People who are not very trusting, very hesitant to believe the numbers. Solomon does a great job of laying out the case and diving into some pretty deep data. And he breaks it all down for you. He goes into the different kinds of information that's available. It's worth the read. I'm not going to go into all the detail. I'm just going to tell you that if you want some answers, if you want to know where the numbers come from, and are we really underreporting or overreporting, I think this article might give you some insight. Again, it's Texas Monthly, and it's just millions more Texans have COVID-19 than we like to pretend, by Dan Solomon. Dan Solomon. All right, let's find out who else has dropped by this morning. Jacqueline Ford is here this morning. Tammy Cromwell is here this morning from Lumberton. Randall Smith, good morning to you. Shakira's here this morning. Let's see who else. Oh, Eileen from the UK. Good morning to you. We also have Durundle Smith. Good morning. Jean says, I need a place to get my 85-year-old mother her COVID vaccine. We live in Tyler County. My suggestion to you, Jean, and I don't know this to be the best place to go, but I know this to be a place to go. And that is to call the Tyler County Health Department and ask the folks there where, how, and I think that's going to be your best lead. And I know you may be like me. You've called all the different various pharmacies and all the grocery stores you've been talking, and nobody has anything. But still, it's worth the call. Lynn Harris, good morning to you there in Maryland. People always think I'm kidding when I say this show goes all around the world. It does. It's on the internet. It knows no boundaries. Hi, Catherine. Good morning, Dixie. Also, Kello is up this morning. Yolanda is up this morning. Hi, Margaret. Hope you had a good weekend. Lars Smith is watching in Austin this morning. Good morning to you. Also, Teresa up in Warren is with us. Margaret is at home in Orange County, or as we used to call it, LaRange, Texas. Also, good morning. Let's see, who did I just see? Oh, Holly Davis is up this morning. Hi, Holly. Hope you're doing well. Adam Powell says, shout out from Del Rio. Hi, Del Rio. Shout back at you. Mashioa? I'm telling you, I struggle with names these days. I really do. But I make an honest effort, and I'm sorry if I don't nail it the first time, okay? Sonia Matthew, I think she's talking about the story with the young girls there in Lake Charles. So again, Pamela Seastrong says, such extreme after effects in Lake Charles after the hurricane's trauma. I think this just adds to it, to the people there who are already struggling. Laura Dunlop says, I try to find American, but what I usually find is foreign-made products marked up for sale by American companies. And I think you're probably right. Anyway, love seeing all of you here. I'm seeing everybody. Let's see, Mary Ellen, she's watching from Florida. Good morning to you. Sheila is watching from Houston, and Nellie is watching over in Orange. Again, I encourage you this morning to hit us with a like if you can, or to add a comment if you'd like to. I want to leave you with one last story. I have things to do, and I know you do too. It's Monday. But I want to take you to one last story. I think this is such a good idea, and I want to see what you think about this. Houston Chronicle this morning, a story from Allison Medley about what's called, let me make sure I say this right. It's going to be called the Great Springs Project. The Great Springs Project. But they're trying to put together a 100-mile nature trail that would create a green corridor that would link San Antonio to Austin. And it's based on the idea of these great springs that we have here in Texas. And now this is a long way from being completed, but it's, people are trying to make this what they call a legacy project so that it will be something that lives on after we're gone and would be a gift to those who come behind us. And ultimately, as you can see, it would connect the 4 Texas Great Springs: Barton Springs, San Marcos Springs, Comal Springs, and San Antonio Springs. What a great idea. Who would not? I would love to walk that. To me, that would be a great draw to the state of Texas. If you told people, hey, you can come here and you can, now again, the plan is, pretty ambitious, 50,000 acres protected land. And they're saying that the design portion would be finished by the fall of 2021. But the actual project, provided they can get it all together, I think I read, if you go through here, I think it said 2036. So it's not like it's going to happen tomorrow, but these things have to be planned. But, as a person who loves the great outdoors, who loves to hike, there are some great hiking trails here in Southeast Texas. You can go out to the Big Thicket, among others. But to me, it just seems like this is a no-brainer on so many different levels. Let me know what you think about it. Again, 100-mile nature trail from San Antonio to Austin. All right, pretty cool idea. All right, that pretty much wraps it up for me this morning. I do appreciate your time. Want to encourage you to check on your neighbors. Remember what we always talk about. Take it from the macro, bring it down to the micro. In other words, it's great for you to be reading all these stories and worried about your neighbors that live in New York City or Washington, D.C., but the real neighbors are the guy that lives next door or across the street or goes to church or goes to school with you. Those are the people that we live with. So if you get a chance, reach out, do somebody a favor today. Don't ask for anything in return, because if you do, then it doesn't count. All right? It's just that simple. Listen, go out and make it a terrific day. Don't forget several ways that you can follow us if you want. Right here on the KFDM Facebook page, right? You can also follow me on Twitter, Morning TV Dan, or YouTube. We have a page. It's Dan's at Home, Dan's at Home. And then you can subscribe there and you'll be able to see every one of our updates. We post them every single day. All right. And this is what I love. Let me tell you real quickly. This is what I love about what we're doing on Facebook is we have created a community. Somebody asks a question in the comment section, somebody else answers it. If I don't have the answer, I know a lot of you do have the answer. And that's what I love. Look at this. So somebody says, hey, if you're in Jasper, here's where you need to call. This is what you need to do. We're here to share information with each other. We're here to make each other's. This is our micro world. This is our important part of the world. Our house, our community, our family, and we spiral out from there and we take care of each other the best that we can, right? So thanks for the help there. I do appreciate that. All right, I'm gone. I will see you bright and early tomorrow morning on the television show, and then back here, we'll get back together here on the internet for Dan's At Home Update. Until then, you go out, stay safe, and have a terrific day.